So it finally happened. I shed a tear while reading. Now, I have welled up and teared up before while thinking about certain sections of this book. Like my favorite section of A Conspiracy Unmasked, where Sam, Pippin, and Merry all pledge and show their loyalty to Frodo. I read that and thought it was beautiful. Then I went on a walk and thought about it more and just teared up just a smidge. You can even ask people in my life about this because I am literally asking if I can read friends of mine passages from Lord of the Rings because of this text's beauty and how much I love it. And that is one that I read to people all the time. I also teared up with the Bilbo and Frodo reunion. But I teared up mainly when I was writing the essay and recording the video. When Bilbo says, "I began to wonder if I should live to see your chapters of our story." That is just so beautiful. And I cannot even imagine having someone say that to me or saying that to someone. It's so incredible. But I am halfway through chapter 4 of book 2, A Journey in the Dark. And I legitimately cried for the first time while reading. And it was for what most of you will likely think is a pretty pathetic reason. But before I go on, make sure you subscribe because I am publishing an essay every chapter that I go through Lord of the Rings because I am reading it for the first time and absolutely falling in love with this text. I cannot speak highly enough of it. And I wanted to document my thoughts in hopes of entertaining some of you who are lore masters. I often tell people that if I could have any superpower in the world, it would be reading books that I love as if for the first time again, or movies or music or any of that art. I think that would be the world's greatest superpower. But this, I think, might be the closest that we can come to experiencing it for the first time. So I hope you all enjoy this. I am now in the phase where I'm publishing multiple video essays per chapter because they are so gloriously good. So subscribe, send this video to all your other Lord of the Rings friends, and if you want, you can become a member of this channel as well. When we have enough Lord of the Rings members, I'm going to start a book club where we record some of the meetings and potentially post them on YouTube, and you can join that by becoming a member and joining our Discord and letting me know all about that. But we can figure that out. If you want, just like leave a comment or send me a message. If you want, send me an email to at firsttimereaders@gmail.com to let me know. We can work all that stuff out later. But anyway, and I just want to do this book club so all the lore masters can just talk about a text that they deeply love because I love when people are obsessed about things. And we can debate who Tom Bombadil is too. But anyway, this crying moment came as a surprise for me because I don't often cry while reading books. But the older I get, I guess the more emotional I get for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting wimpier. But I like to say that I'm tapping into my emotional side a lot more. But the moment I cried in this chapter was the moment when Samwise Gamgee weeps because they have to send Bill the pony away because he cannot go into the mines. I don't know what it was about this or what came over me. Actually, I take that back, I do, and I wrote 7 pages on this. But I think for any pet lover, you know and understand the scene on an emotional level. And weirdly, I think Tolkien gave a slight nod to Sam here so that Sam had a quiet moment with Bill before he left. But this is not in the books, and it's just pure conjecture, and I will back this up in time. But Bill the Pony has been secretively one of my favorite characters in the whole book. I say that a bit facetiously, but I legitimately love him. I love how Sam nursed this pony back to good health because the book says this the first time we encounter Bill. A poor, old, half-starved creature it is, but he won't part with it for less than thrice its worth, which is Bill Ferny's asking price. It proved to be a bony, underfed, and dispirited animal, but it did not look like dying just yet. It's a great line right there. Just as a side note, while this essay might seem like it's about Bill the Pony, it's truly about Sam Gamgee and his character, and why I love and trust him so much, and think this moment might have vaulted him as my favorite member of the company so far. Because there is a quote that I love from Harry Potter where Sirius Black tells Harry, "If you want to see the true measure of a man, watch how he treats his inferiors, not his equals." Unfortunately, Sirius then treats creatures that he deems lower than him with contempt, namely Creature the house elf. But that's an essay for another time. I love this line. I think it's an incredible line. And Sam follows it very, very well. Because let's be honest, Sam is the least esteemed person in this whole company. Merry and Pippin are even more important than him because they come from noble birth in Hobbiton. Sam is simply a gardener that works at Bag End for the Bagginses. But from the very first moment he meets Bill the Pony, he knows that a lesser man has dealt with this pony and treated him cruelly. Sam knows that, and he stews on that so much that he actually throws an apple as quick as lightning at Bill Ferny, the old owner of Bill. The text says this: "He walked in front with Frodo. Next came Merry and Pippin, and last came Sam leading the pony, which was laden with as much of their baggage as they had the heart to give it. But already it looked less dejected, as if it had approved of the change in its fortunes. 'Morning, my little friends,' he said to the others. 'I suppose you know who you've taken up with. That's Stick-at-Naught Strider, that is, though I've heard other names not so pretty. Watch out tonight, and you, Sammy, don't go ill-treating my poor pony.' Pah!" He spat again. Sam turned quickly. "And you, Ferny," he said, "put your old ugly face out of sight or it will get hurt." With a sudden flick, quick as lightning, an apple left his hand and hit Bill square in the nose. He ducked too late, and curses came from behind the hedge. "Waste of a good apple," said Sam regretfully, and strode on. Sam has seen enough, and he deems this man a waste of a good apple. I know the insult with which I am going to insult people with whenever they say bad things about people I love now, though I won't throw apples at them. A few pages later, after the hobbits have traveled for a few days and are worn out, the text then says this: "In the last few days, the poor beast had improved wonderfully. It already seemed fatter and stronger, and had begun to show an affection for its new masters, especially for Sam. Bill Ferny's treatment must have been very hard for the journey in the wild to seem so much better than its former life." It's the burgeoning of the relationship between Sam and Bill. And again, some of you might think I'm mad by writing an essay like this, but anyone with a beloved pet knows the significance of this and can judge the character of Sam so much more now that Bill the pony seems to have an affinity for him. Sometimes people ask me about my own dog. "Would you have liked me if Wes, my own dog, didn't like me?" And I say, of course, but really I'm thinking, no way. My dog has a sixth sense for people. I mean, I'm only half joking, but I love that Bill here developed a love of Sam. It's the start of their relationship, and they are together through it all. Later in the book, Bill not only becomes stronger, but grows in compassion and love for his new owners. He is like a rescue animal that is so incredibly grateful for his new life. The text says, "As soon as they had eaten, they set out again. They climbed slowly down the southern side of the ridge, but the way was much easier than they had expected, for the slope was far less steep on this side. And before long, Frodo was able to ride again. Bill Ferny's old pony was developing an unexpected talent for picking out a path and for sparing its rider as many jolts as possible. The spirits of the party rose again. Even Frodo felt better in the morning light. This is just the mark of a good animal. And Sam seems like the person behind making that come true. His affinity for gardening and nurturing things to life is working wonders on Bill, who he is also nurturing and caring for to his own rehabilitation. Then the hobbits and Aragorn get to Rivendell. The council happens and the fellowship is chosen, and one of the first lines out of Sam's mouth is, "It was Sam who had insisted on choosing him, declaring that Bill, as he called him, would pine if he did not come. 'That animal can nearly talk,' he said, 'and would talk, if he stayed here much longer. He gave me a look as plain as Mr. Pippin could speak it. If you don't let me go with you, Sam, I'll follow you on my own.'" So Bill was going as the beast of burden. Yet he was the only member of the company that did not seem depressed. Two things. This is a moment where I tend to think Sam as being maybe a bit selfish because of how much he loves Bill. This is leading Bill surely into significant danger. It's almost as if Sam has done the work of rehabbing this poor animal and needs to know when it's time to let go. But again, who can part from an animal that they truly love? I know I can. And I'm that weird guy who brings his dog everywhere with him. I love that dog so much it's actually alarming. And also, to the second point, Bill seems like he wants to go. Frodo is the master of Sam, but Sam is the master of Bill. And this mastery is one of respect and love and adoration. Not saying that the Bagginses didn't treat the Gamgees with love and respect, because they truly did. In the beginning, there's a lovely example of Bilbo treating the old gaffer with beautiful respect and care, but there's a difference between these two things in the end of this essay that I'm going to touch on. Because Frodo and Sam's relationship doesn't seem fully mutual quite yet. It seems like Frodo relies on Sam and trusts in him to be his companion because Gandalf seemed to make it happen that Sam was going to be his companion, and Sam took that to heart, and his duty to Frodo is strong. Insanely strong. And at the moment of writing this, I think Frodo and Sam share a deep love for each other, but it still feels like the servant and the master relationship. But the relationship that Sam has with Bill seems one of genuine love and affection for each other. Sam didn't need rehabbing, so this might be a dumb point, but the rehab work that Sam has done on Bill shows the character of this man. It shows him to be gentle and loving and respectful. It shows him to be truly what I most value in being a man. I know there's a meme that goes around that shows Aragorn to be the true form of masculinity, but please step aside Aragorn, because to me, Sam is the true form of masculinity. Someone who serves and loves and cares deep enough to weep. He is in touch with his emotions, and even though he's a bit grumpy at times, he knows what he must do and follows his duty into a dragon's den if he must. Don't worry though, I'm not going to do a full character study on him quite yet, because I have to be honest, I don't think Sam is quite the main star yet in this book, but I think he will be, especially if the movies are any indication of that. The next moment that comes in their love story is when they are on the verge of leaving for the south. The text says, Sam was standing by the pony sucking his teeth and staring moodily into the gloom where the river roared stonily below. His desire for adventure was at its lowest ebb. Bill, my lad, he said, you oughtn't to have took up with us. You could have stayed here and at the best hay till the new grass comes. Bill swished his tail and said nothing. This is, I think, where you see the grumpiness of Sam, maybe most. He just doesn't seem to want to go on this journey. Sam is best where he can take care for things. And this journey seems like it's a journey that will only destroy people, and I think Sam kind of knows that. But this is why Sam is such a vital member of the group. And I just love Bill's listening ear here. He's just a companion to Sam. He's a buddy. Because their relationship is almost cute and knowing and understanding of each other. And I laughed a little at this line where they're taking wood up to Caradhras and Sam says, and Bill could take a bit more, couldn't you, lad? Said Sam. The pony looked at him mournfully. It's like the look you give a friend across the classroom. I think their relationship is surprisingly beautiful to me. Which is why it hurt so much that Bill had to leave before they got into the mines. And there is a conversation that happens before between Frodo and Gandalf that I swear is in the text only to mentally prepare the reader for the devastation that is to come. This is what the text says of their conversation, the preparatory conversation for what is to come. But in any case, we cannot take the poor beast into the mines, said Gandalf. The road under the mountains is a dark road, and there are places narrow and steep which he cannot tread even if we can. Poor old Bill, said Frodo. I had not thought of that. And poor Sam, I wonder what he will say. I am sorry, said Gandalf. Poor Bill has been a useful companion, and it goes to my heart to turn him adrift now. I would have traveled lighter and brought no animal, least of all this one that Sam is fond of, if I had my way. I feared all along that we should be obliged to take this road. And you can see it in your mind's eye. Frodo looking back at this moment at Sam, who was likely stroking the nose of Bill and speaking in his little baby voice to the pony. Everyone else thinks Sam is mad, but the pet owners know. And I've really heard from some friends who either love horses or who have horses that they are some of the most emotionally intelligent creatures in the world. That the bond a person can share with a horse is no different from a dog, but perhaps even more emotionally empathetic rather than just goofy like a lot of dogs are. And then comes the devastation. Turning to the others, he said, While I am searching, will each of you make ready to enter the mines? For here I fear we must say farewell to our good beast of burden. You must lay aside much of the stuff we have brought against the bitter weather. You will not need it inside, nor, I hope, when we come through and journey on down into the south. Instead, each of us must take a share of what the pony carried, especially the food and the water skins. But you can't leave old poor Bill behind in this forsaken place, Mr. Gandalf, cried Sam, angry and distressed. I won't have it, and that's flat. After all, he has come so far and all. I am sorry, Sam, said the wizard. But when the door is open, I do not think you will be able to drag your Bill inside into the long dark of Moria. You will have to choose between Bill and your master. He'd follow Mr. Frodo into a dragon's den if I let him, protested Sam. It'd be nothing short of murder to turn him loose with all these wolves about. It will be shorter of murder, I hope, said Gandalf. He laid his hand on the pony's head and spoke in a low voice. Go with words of guard and guiding on you, he said. You are a wise beast, and have learned much in Rivendell. Make your ways to places where you can find grass, and so come in time to Elrond's house, or wherever you wish to go. You will have quite as much chance of escaping wolves and getting home as we have. Sam stood sullenly by the pony and returned no answer. Bill, seeming to understand well what was going on, nuzzled up to him, putting his nose to Sam's ear. Sam burst into tears and fumbled with the straps, unladling the pony's pack and throwing them on the ground. This just ruins me. I know this isn't a healthy activity, but every once in a while it crosses my mind about the day I'll have to say goodbye to my dog. I'm tearing up even as I write this, and there are so many moments throughout my week and month that I'll think about this, and I'll grab my dog and just tell him right there how much I love him and how much of a good boy he is. I'm going to sound weird when I say this, but there is a moment in the text that I expected that Tolkien was going to write the goodbye that Sam said to Bill, but we don't get that. And I think that is a marvel of writing because for me, Sam obviously said his goodbye. But I think moments like that are too holy to share. They are between the animal and the owner. I still remember the day my childhood dogs died. I had two. One of them, Samson, was an English Mastiff who had gotten bitten by a snake and went paralyzed on his back two legs. It was devastating. We had to put him down, and I remember my mom telling me to go into the other room where he was laying to say my goodbye to him in private. I just laid next to him and cried. And the same was true with my other dog, Simba, a black lab. I remember he died of old age. One night we let him out to go to the bathroom and he didn't come in. He was just laying in the grass and he knew his end was coming. He let me rub his belly for a few times before he passed. And he was an incredible dog. And I think for Tolkien, seeing human beings that he loved that passed away in the war, he knew how sad, yet how holy those moments are. And they shouldn't be looked at with a curious eye. And so to me, Sam and Bill shared this moment together where they said their goodbyes where prying eyes couldn't see. And I am convinced that Tolkien had that in mind when he wrote this. But then Bill stays with the Fellowship until Gandalf learns the password. And then when Frodo gets captured by that tentacled thing, Bill goes running in one direction, and I think we have the clearest indication of the heart of Sam that we have had in the entire series so far. The text says this: "He strode forward and set his foot on the lowest step. But at that moment, several things happened. Frodo felt something seize him by the ankles, and he fell with a cry. Bill, the pony, gave a wild neigh of fear and turned tail and dashed away along the lakeside into the darkness. Sam leaped after him. And then hearing Frodo's cry, he ran back again, weeping and cursing. In the end, Sam chooses Frodo. I want to get into Sam's head more, but I don't think the text gives us that much more. But at this first read, it almost feels like Sam chooses his duty over his love. He chooses the duty of what he has been called to, and that he must follow Frodo into the fires of Mordor, over the thing he has probably loved the most. I think after this moment, Sam will feel lonely, as Bill felt maybe like his real companion and equal. But this to me feels like such a significant moment for Sam, in that now Frodo knows that this is his most trusted ally. I think Frodo knew that before, but it wasn't tested like it was tested now. Now Frodo has seen that in a choice between the thing that probably made Sam the happiest, as he was on his entire journey, and between his loyalty to Frodo, Sam chooses his loyalty. And I think that is no small test of character for Samwise Gamgee. Anyway, let me know what your pet's name was in the chat below. This was a tough essay for me to write, but make sure you subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.